All right, blessings to all of our viewers. We just had a little delay today, but we're on right now, so we're gonna start off this program. This program you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss it. Please share it to all your friends, families. Just gonna wait for the live to build up a little bit, and then we will start going out into the program itself. All right, so share that live now. Share it to persons that you know, those that are around you, and let's see how we can get everything done. Right, so share now, so that persons will be able to learn as much as they can. So blessings and morning to Laura and Peter. All right, thank you for joining us this morning. But we're just going to wait just a few seconds for the live to build up, and then we'll continue on to this program. Let me just make a quick All right, pleasant good morning to Victoria Thompson as well. So we're on live, and this live is basically going to be about hormones as it relate to weight loss. So we want persons to come in now to share it with your friends, share it with your families. If you have any particular questions that you'll actually like to have be answered in this program today, please send us your questions now. But this live, you don't want to miss out on it. You definitely want to be on here. Let me just see. Right, so I'm just waiting for Mr. Diaz to come in. Hopefully, by God's grace, if he doesn't have anybody at the moment, he'll be joining us, and he'll also be sharing his wealth of knowledge with us. Also, Dr. Navarro. Let me just see if I can get him on. Right, so just waiting, just a few for the live to build up, and then we will start. Some music playing. Yeah. All right. So morning, Mr. Diaz, and welcome to this live. All right. So we have some persons waiting for us to share some information on weight loss and what persons can do, how to overcome. But this is weight loss as it relates to hormonal imbalance. Right? You don't want to miss this one. Stay on. You don't want to miss this one. Trust me on that one. In the meantime, let me see, I can share our locations, our contact numbers. Right, you'll see it actually scrolling across the screen, so that person will be able to contact us if they have any further questions after this live. Okay, welcome Melissa Millet. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Nikisha Bruno Diaz. I will not sell out who is that. But I know someone is excited to see her here today. So we're not going to sell it out. Okay, so Just wait a few seconds again for Dr. Navarro to see if he'll be joining us. So in the meantime, you can listen to some nice music. Okay. Right. For those that, of course, that has questions, we're going to be talking about weight loss today. Any hormone-related questions, you can actually join us now on this live and share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors, those that are around you. And we're going to begin now as Dr. Navarro is here with us. All right. We promise to keep it as exciting as possible. And to keep this live exciting, you need to actually ask questions because we love questions. Questions is how we get out most of our information. So this morning, again, welcome to Peter Delis, Laura Thompson, Victoria Thompson, Nikisha, Bruno Diaz. Every time I say that name, I see someone like you getting excited about it. Melissa Millet, welcome as well. All right, and of course, welcome to Navarro, who is basically just setting up at the moment. So as soon as he comes in, we're gonna start on the area of weight loss. All right. So let me just permit me to
I'm just taking my zinc here.
Sure, no problem. Good thing.
Yeah. For those who want a very good vitamin, this is the vitamin.
All
very
right.
good
Zinc
vitamin.
COVID B, definitely. That's very good.
Very good vitamin.
Right. So So we're gonna begin. I'm just gonna do a short presentation, and then we will get into some questions and answers. We want to add back those persons that were on the live to please let them know that we're going to begin now and share it with anyone that you think will be able to benefit from this live this morning. All right. So morning again, and welcome to all those that are joining us this morning. So of course, we're talking about weight loss as it relates to hormonal imbalance. How many of you would like to lose weight? How many of you like to maintain that weight that you also would have lost long years ago? And how many of you would like to keep that nice firm figure that is nice and strong? So by God's grace, as we continue to share information with you, it's more about basically balancing of the whole body itself. Right. So the question that always come to mind, tired of trying to lose weight. Well, maybe it's your hormones. All right. So definitely, I know persons would have tried so many solutions in trying to lose weight and to get themselves back on track. And you're like the picture that you're seeing up on your screen there, which basically shows scale and basically calling for help. Or you may be this person that would have stand up on a scale and would have crushed that scale in two. And you're a person that you don't want to go down that road again. Okay, so as we share this information with you, I hope it will be beneficial to as much persons as possible. How many have reached here? All right, some persons have actually reached the stage of all right, some persons have reached the stage of what you call obesophoria. All right, so in other words, this is where a person reaches into a stage of being fearful now of gaining weight, where they actually will start either doing things like vomiting to lose the weight. They're not going to eat certain things, so they develop certain potential eating disorders. They start in the area of consistently counting calories, judging other bodies. All right, you're going around and you're looking at other people, and it becoming a stage you're so bombarded by it that you develop anxiety because you try to lose weight so much and you have lost the weight, and now you're being so careful with so many things that it puts you into a stage of being fearful now, avoiding scales and excessively weighing yourself all the time. You're consistently on that. From the time you reach your work, you weigh yourself. In 2 hours' time, you weigh yourself again, and then another 2 hours, and then when you leave, you're weighing yourself again. This is a state of anxiety. Okay, excessive checking the body itself. You're not satisfied with yourself, with how you look, right? I mean, once you overweight, most of the time you're not going to be satisfied. But guess what? You don't want to reach into the stage of being very fearful. Okay, you want to also look at how hormones generally is linked to weight gain. So as soon as I'm finished with the presentation here, then Dr. Navarro and Mr. Diaz will come in and share with us some tips on how to lose weight and how to keep that weight off the body. So the weight gain through hormonal links will be either thyroid deficiencies, all right? So you're looking at the high levels of TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, T3, which is basically 3 molecules of iodine, T4, 4 molecules of iodine. Then you also may have deficiency of vitamin D, which could cause you to build up visceral fat. Well, visceral fat is found in the area of the stomach itself, right? That's the underlining of the stomach. So you have the skin, and then you have visceral fat that might build up. Now, this type of fat tend to be pretty dangerous because it could affect the heart, it could affect the liver as well, and causing person to end up with heart attack or even things like stroke. As we go down the line, this is a big one you need to pay close attention to, and that's what you call insulin resistance. Okay, weight gain in the abdomen area tend to cause insulin resistance. So insulin, the increase of insulin, the increase of HbA1c, diabetic patients, stress itself can increase things like cortisol, which we talked about last week, the stress hormone. We also look at androgen imbalance. So you're talking about the decrease in testosterone for men, the decrease in DHEA. Well, that's also a hormone as well. That can actually be used to help to prevent things like cancer. I'll be able to share maybe some information on that. And common causes of insulin resistance will be you're living a lifestyle that you're not exercising, you're not doing anything at all, hormonal imbalance, obesity, poor diet, poor sleep, and also smoking as well that can contribute to a heavy amount of obesity. And let's go further down. Estrogen dominance, all right? Estrogen dominance causes you to be in a state where you develop a lot of belly fat in men. You're also looking at progesterone level, which is a hormone that is needed to maintain testosterone and estrogen. That also drops as well. If it drops automatically, women start gaining weight in the hips area, in the thigh area, or even in the breast area as well too. So these are some of the causes that you pay close attention to. As you go down, right, that's hormone and weight gain. And then for men that have low levels of testosterone, you will see some of the issues here that happens. So you're looking at low energy, increased fatigue issues, increased risk of ED meaning erectile dysfunction, or when it is that you're having impotence, all right? You're not able to get a good erection, okay? The drive itself for like sexual performances, that also starts to cut down. Then we have men that are depressed, which will cause them to actually gain weight, increased risk of osteoporosis, well, that is from low levels of testosterone. Now, when you have optimal level of testosterone, a sharper mind, confident, you tend to be a little more happier, increased muscle mass, Heart health improves, strong erection, strong libido function, plenty of energy, and even strong bones as well. So, men, this could be you. You might be in this position where you have low levels of testosterone and you tend to gain a lot of weight, right? So, this comes from a gradual hormone decline. Let me just go further down quickly here. So gradual decline of testosterone in men, you'll see at the age of 20, full level of testosterone. At the age of 30, it starts dropping, and 40 and 50 and 60 to 70 and 80. And then at 90, it drops so low that you'll notice that the muscle mass may be down completely, where sometimes you see skin and bones. Now you might be that man that may have a little stomach weight coming on. That could be caused, of course, from an increase of estrogen within the body. All right, symptoms of high estrogen. Women, you're looking at swollen or tender breasts, irregular periods, or increased premenstrual syndrome, memory or sleeping issues, bloating or weight gain, headaches, things like mood swings, decrease in sex drive, and for men, infertility, erectile dysfunction, breast tissue growth, all right, gynecomastia. Now, this is something that happens to a lot of men where they develop large breast tissue, all right? But before we go further down into the presentation, we have some questions coming up, and I would like to just make a little pause here, and Dr. Navarro and Mr. Diaz will be able to come in and share some information on the effects of weight on the body, of what it can actually do to you. Right? So anybody can jump in now.
Okay, take it away.
All right, Dr. Navarro.
Oh no, sorry. I thought Harry was speaking. Sorry, that's why I didn't comment.
Right, you can come in now.
You were right. So we're talking about weight effects on the body. Well, boy, I can tell you a lot about that because I am actually on a program and I've actually lost about 15 pounds so far because of my hip problem, and it has helped me. Of course, the agility, the to move around with a lot of weight is problematic. It puts a lot of stress on the spine, the bones. You find you're not as flexible to do what you want. In terms of exercising, it restricts. It restricts a lot of things in your body, especially with a lot of belly fat. So it's and then you said something there that is very important. People need to know when you lose weight. If you're naturally heavy and you lose the weight and you put it back on, all that weight that you put on is called visceral fat, and that is a very dangerous type of fat. It covers the organs, and it can contribute to a lot of medical conditions and complications to the person. And then again, it can affect in terms of your health. Those who are diabetic or hypertensive, those can actually what's the word I want to use? It can actually make the condition worse. Okay, it can actually make the condition of your diabetes or your high blood pressure worse. So choosing what you eat, of course, is important. Now, remember something, because of hormonal imbalance, a lot of us gain weight as we get older. And you find that because as you get older, if you're not as active as you used to be, you find that the weight does not come off. And also another factor that discourages a lot of people because they go on all kind of diets and all kind of things to try and lose the weight and they realize it's not working. is that your metabolism could be too slow, and therefore you may eat a little bit of food. You're telling yourself, and I've had patients tell me that. He said, Doc, but I'm hardly eating and I'm gaining weight. And that is a factor with your metabolism because you're now trying to cut down on the amount of calories, and you find that even though you're eating less, you're still gaining weight. And that's because what's going on with your body is that you're not burning the fat. And a lot of the glucose that is supposed to be used as energy is being converted into fat, and even though what you're eating. All right. So what you need to do is you need to do a check to see on your hormones, number one, why you're gaining weight. All right. You need to find out. That's the first question you need to find out. Why am I gaining weight? If I'm cutting down on my food, all right, then I need to find out why am I gaining weight. And that's where a live blood analysis comes in. And it can actually check. Sorry, it seemed to be on. The internet seemed to be given. Another thing too, I'll tell you this about fast foods, eh? And this is something that I looked at a video that shocked the daylights out of me. A lot of the fast foods do not break down fast in the body. In other words, because of how they are manufactured, what they put in them. So when we eat these foods, they sit for long, long periods in your digestive system. All right. And that type of food causes us to put on weight. And I can tell you right away, one of the things that a lot of people are not aware of, which is simple as sugar. You see, sugar? You get energy from sugar. But the point about it is sugar slows down your metabolism greatly. It affects the thyroid gland, among other organs, and it slows it down to the point that you start gaining weight. All right? If you're not active, if for instance, like me, because of my injury, I used to be in the gym 3, 4 times for the week. All right? But because of my hip injury, I, I can't go back in the gym like that. Okay? Because of the injury. And what happened is I realized that I was starting to gain weight more and more, and I said, all right, let me cut down on my portions. All right, that didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. I was still gaining weight until my weight was I think I went up to about 260 pounds, and I'm 5'7". Okay, so and I was saying, but I'm cutting down on the amount of food. I was drinking a shake in the morning for breakfast. I'd have a normal lunch and I have a small, small dinner. And still I was packing on the weight. So I realized that I had to shock metabolism. So you know what I did to make me lose the weight? I lost about 15 pounds, 5 more pounds to go. All right. What made me lose the weight was eating once for the day. I would eat and I would eat the same time 24 hours after. Now that's a little stringent, eh? But I'll tell you something, in the first 2 weeks, I lost 10 pounds. So what I did, I shocked my metabolism because my body was so accustomed to 3 meals a day, and then I cut down to one. So when my bodies began to start burning the fat as energy, start to break it down. And that was one of it, as I said, it helped me a lot to break down a lot of the weight, especially around the waist. And I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Understand? And sometimes we have to go to that point, but and people say, well, what you did in between the 24 hours? I drank a lot of water, plenty water. I drank a lot of teas without any sugar or milk. Important. I used mainly ginger tea. I drank the ginger tea, and I drank that anytime I felt, and let me tell you something, the hunger pangs are going to come because you've been eating a particular way all your life, and especially for the first week, you're gonna want to eat something. And I just drink water, and the water, when you drink the water, it takes away the appetite until it come back again. And then and the night I had before I went to bed, I had a nice big cup of ginger tea, and then I would go in my bed. Get up in the morning. If you want, you can have a tea, all right, and you wait till 12 o'clock every lunchtime or 12:30 to have your meal, and that's how my body had to cut down on my weight. Because the 10 3 meals that they didn't cut it, even though I was reducing my portions, I had to shock my metabolism and of course get rid of a lot of the visceral fat from my body. So intermittent fasting does work, but you have to sacrifice. It's not an easy thing to have to wait to eat 24 hours because people in the house are eating and smelling all the foods and stuff like that. And you just have to burn your belly. But it works. And it will work. And if it works for me, it's gonna work for anybody. Because I can't exercise as a result of my hip. And therefore my body just started I could do a little push-ups, and stuff, but as I said, it helped me greatly in cutting down my weight. All right, so that's just sharing my personal experience with some of you out there. Harry.
Yes, excellent information. All right, really, really good information there. The intermittent fasting, I know that that is one of the areas where people can really struggle, because the urge to eat is a
It's
difficult
great.
one to fight. Yeah,
It's great.
especially when it is that you're accustomed having 3 meals a day. But the intermittent fasting, yes, if it is that you find that you are really having issues with weight loss, it becomes necessary to shock the metabolism into action, and nothing works as well as intermittent fasting. All right, but let us take a look at some of the other avenues that are available when it comes to weight loss. Dr. Thompson would have highlighted a bit earlier on the need for vitamin D3. All right, vitamin D3, if it is that you lack vitamin D3, you find that weight weight gain becomes an issue, and of course, additionally, losing that weight can definitely be quite an issue. From my research, also, what I recognize is that besides vitamin D3, you can have some serious issues if it is that you are lacking vitamin E. All right, vitamin E, tocotrienols, that is also one of the areas where a lot of us tend to have issues with. A natural source, and a very good natural source of vitamin E is the ruku, or the annatto, as some people would call it. You would see people selling the ruku. in bottles, on the roadside. That is one of the areas where you can take advantage of. Get yourself some ruku and make it part of your daily cooking. All right. For the vitamin D, a natural source of vitamin D, sorry, of course, is sunlight. For a lot of us, we don't get enough sunlight, but I think on a daily basis, we should definitely try to find a way to get some sunlight, which is a really good natural source of vitamin D. Um, a really good herb that you can use that would also help with the weight loss. Dr. Navarro mentioned, of course, ginger. What you can do also with the ginger is that you can add some guava leaf to it. Guava leaf has many, many, many benefits, but guava leaf can really set the stage for weight loss. There are properties in there that would help. All right. So on a daily basis, I mean, guava leaves are generally easy to find. On a daily basis, you can do the ginger tea with guava leaf. All right. I would say definitely twice a day, probably even 3 times a day. It certainly wouldn't hurt. There are additional benefits that you can get from guava leaf, but let us definitely see if we can add that to our regime for weight loss. There was a pretty good question that I was looking at a bit earlier on, and uh, one of
The
the questions that I was looking at earlier on there was that someone was asking, well, all right, so what are some of the foods that can be eaten for weight loss? But they were stressing on cheap foods. All right, and I think that is always a very good question. Now, of course, uh, as long as you switch to a plant-based diet, that is another key weight loss. All right, you go to the market, and I would say when it comes to vegetables, just shop around a bit. Look for stuff that you could buy in bulk that is generally cheap. All right, you might probably get I don't know, some pumpkin. You might be able to get some of the other vegetables that might be cheap. I would say when it comes to vegetables, if you could buy those that are generally more affordable, you're on the right track because vegetables generally does not contribute to weight gain or anything like that. You don't want to have too much of the starches and stuff, of course. If you're diabetic, you're going green. If you're not diabetic, you can pretty much use any of the vegetables, but those that carry high starch, you definitely want to try to use less of that. Um, you cannot lose weight if you are not hydrated. Keep that in mind, people. If you are not hydrated, you cannot lose weight. Some people might have this misconception that I shouldn't drink too much water because water could cause me to gain weight. No. If you're not hydrated, you're not drinking enough water, you're not going to be able to lose weight. Let's get that straight. And you don't want to drink water, too much of water at the same time. The best way to drink water is to sip water throughout the day. So you keep having a mouthful of water at regular interval throughout the day. All right. You want to have 1.5 to 2 liters of water, and you can sip that. Have a mouthful of water or a couple mouthfuls of water on regular interval, and you try to have as much as a liter and a half to 2 liters, pretty much of water or more. All right, as long as you're having it on a regular basis, and you keep taking that mouthful on a regular basis, you don't have to worry about anything. All right. Uh, what else could I say at the moment? Okay. Uh, being able to check the hormones, especially the thyroid. Keep in mind that the thyroid is basically responsible for regulating one's metabolism. If you have a underactive thyroid, then naturally you find that you could find yourself pretty much having a real hard time to lose the weight. All right. This is where, again, shocking the metabolism through intermittent fasting could come in. What I would also say is that something new that I've been looking at that seems to be very promising is, again, you could get, we always talk so much about the castor oil. All right. But the castor oil, generally, you can actually take a little bit and you can rub it in the area of the thyroid gland, just right in the area of the neck there. All right. And you can also do that on a daily basis. What that does basically is that it helps with to improve the function of a thyroid gland that is actually malfunctioning. All right. Now keep in mind that as much as you can do, okay, you kind of like put everything together and try to make a bit of a regimen, a daily regimen as to, how do I tackle my weight loss? All right. So these are areas that can be very useful there with all these various all these things that can actually help. I saw a question earlier on, Dr. Thompson, too. Somebody was asking about tonsils. What can we do to pretty much help issues with the tonsils? Again, keep in mind that the tonsils, based on my research, is pretty much heavily dependent on uh, sulfur. Okay, one of the best supplements that's high in sulfur that I could recommend to you is MSM. MSM. All right, MSM is very beneficial to the tonsils. Um, Garlic has high levels of uh, sulfur, which is also very helpful. Tulsi, which is another herb that is pretty good where sulfur is concerned, can be very helpful also. The Tulsi, of course, that's the one that the Hindus tend to plant quite a lot. You'll see it around their little temples and stuff like that. It's a plant that looks a bit purple in color. All right, it has a nice taste. All right, the Tulsi is actually very useful. You can either do a tea of the tulsi, or you could probably chew about 3 to 5 leaves on a daily basis. All right, it actually leaves you with nice, healthy smelling breath. So I think people will probably really enjoy chewing it. All right, and it has a whole lot of benefits. All right, so I think these are some of the areas there that can definitely help with issues of weight loss. So, Dr. Thompson, I suppose if there's any more questions, this might be a good time to probably bring them up.
Right. So basically, before we get into the question, just want to share the end of the presentation. Well, of course, men, how do you feel? Right. This could be you. You might be frustrated, holding your head. How do I lose weight? Woman, this might be you. You might want to break the scale. You're just fed up. Right? You're frustrated. You're in the area, okay, you're lashing out at everybody because you're angry with the scale. But I just want to bring to your attention that it's not the scale fault. It is you actually standing up on the scale that needs to actually push that away and give the scale a little chance to do its job. He's doing a fantastic job by telling you to get angry at your weight. All right. Now, when you get angry, then you're going to look for stuff. How am I going to fix the problem in the first place? So don't be like this woman here, as she's really angry at the scale and wants to break up that scale. All right. So,
Dr. Thompson,
yes.
my apologies to the men. I actually forgot to address the men there, but just really quickly, what I would say is there are two things that really helps with testosterone, with building testosterone. Number one, exercise. All right. For the man that does not exercise, you definitely need to get on an exercise regime. It doesn't have to be extremely, what's that word? Uh,
Strenuous.
you don't have, yeah, you don't have to go, too heavy, but you definitely need to exercise to the point whereby your heart rate go up and you sweat. Okay, and along with exercise, intermittent fasting. From the time you start fasting over a certain period, okay, let's say for instance, anytime you hit that 12-hour period, all right, definitely testosterone, the building of testosterone basically kicks in. So the intermittent fasting, where you have one meal a day, of course, what you eat also is very important. Try to stick to a plant-based diet as much as possible. All right, but one meal a day definitely is one of the areas that will boost testosterone buildup. If you don't believe it, all right, or if you don't believe me, I would say try it for a couple days, try it for a few days. Now remember, when it's time to have your meal, you could definitely have heavy meals. You could go to town, all right, on eating, but you're only having one meal a day. That intermittent fasting is really fantastic for building testosterone, all right, and not just testosterone, but also stem cells.
Definitely. All right, so we're on insulin and weight gain. Well, of course, insulin resistance. Just gonna get we'll have a part two of this program, of course, and we'll get into the heavy effects of insulin on the body. Now, if a person eats a high carbohydrate diet, when you talk about carbohydrate, meaning basically refined carbs, you're looking at bread and macaroni, and your diet is more surrounded by that. It basically causes a high level of insulin demand. And when you need a lot of insulin, automatically the blood sugar level starts going higher and higher. Or sometimes it even drops very low when it is that a person is eating too much sugary foods. So as we look further down, right, so this is how insulin works. You have a normal cell. Insulin basically works like a key, opens the lock up so that glucose could enter. So as you can see in the diagram here, as the insulin opens, glucose enters. But if it is that there's too much glucose coming in at once, so that insulin have to keep like that now. He's keep opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing. Eventually, you reach into a stage, okay, I am tired. I need to take a rest. I'm going to rest now. And when he takes a rest, guess what's going to happen? Your blood sugar level is going to start climbing higher and higher. So you want to pay close attention to the amount of time that you're eating, how much you're eating as well, because it plays a role. So causes of what you call insulin resistance, a high calorie, meaning too much oils in your diet, lots of oils, or basically foods that's more surrounded with a lot of unhealthy fats. High carbohydrate diet. Carbohydrate basically break down into sugar, right, or starches. So you're looking at persons who generally surround their foods with not only sugars, but also looking at if you're using lots of oils. High sugar diet, chronic diseases, certain chronic diseases like diabetes, cancer, you could name it, lots of like obesity itself, it tends to cause insulin resistance, especially around the stomach area. Little to no physical activity, high doses of steroid over a long period of time. There are some persons who will be in pain and the doctor will basically give steroids. Most of these persons who take extended amount of steroids tend to end up with putting on a lot of weight. And with putting on a lot of weight, eventually they reach in the area of insulin resistance. We'll get down into more on that program, so we'll have a part two on weight loss. But we're going to get down into some questions and get some answers. We have two questions here. What are some of the best supplements someone can use to lose weight? All right. So now, of course, you need things like evening primrose. Anything with omega-3 is important. Vitamin C is also important as well. Of course, you get all of that from the foods that you're eating. So if you look at the foods for weight loss, you'll see avocado, you'll see oats, you will basically see things like seeds. You would see almonds, you'll see blueberries, pomegranate, and so much of these foods are, guess what? All of them are plant-based foods. Plant-based foods in its original state don't contain a high level of calories. All right, is when we start mixing things and making things of our own, we tend to add a lot more to it. All right, so you want to pay close attention to that. At the end of the program, I'm going to give out a little recipe that persons can use to help to shed some fat out of the body, and also give out some of my smoothies that I normally do for persons. So you don't want to leave yet. You want to stay so that you'll be able to understand that and share it with your friends and anyone that's around you. Right. So, Mr. Diaz, you were talking about some teas, but could you give us some more of those teas that persons can actually use, let's say twice a day or daily, that they can use to help with weight loss or to generally just help with overall health of the body?
Yeah. So again, as I said, the guava leaves has properties that research is showing more and more that basically sets the stage for weight loss. All right. But of course, as with anything else, it's a process so that you find that you need to use it over a period of time, and of course, you monitor it. And that is one of the areas that will be very useful for people that are familiar with the herb susumba, all right, or the fruit susumba. That is also a fruit that has high amount of nutrients that benefits the thyroid gland. Okay, so if you have susumba available in your area, you could always, crush a few of those fruits and you can boil it into a tea with the guava, add a little ginger. That's a pretty good uh, combination that could also be considered. The Remember we spoke about the resurrection fern the last time we spoke. All right, the resurrection fern is a herb that is excellent for, again, hydration. As I mentioned, if you're not hydrated, losing weight becomes pretty much next to impossible. All right, so that is something that you can also look at. I see you also have lemon juice pretty much in your arsenal there. And yes, lemon juice is fantastic. It has high levels of vitamin C and other properties that is excellent for dealing with issues like weight loss and stuff like that also. So all of these are stuff that a person can actually put together. It's relatively cheap, you know. If you don't have everything, you use what you do have available, and that could be part of the regimen, pretty much for your weight loss. Keeping in mind, of course, that you do want to make some changes where your diet is concerned. You want to go plant-based as much as possible, and these are areas that can definitely be very helpful.
All right, excellent. Of course, anybody has any particular question that they would like to ask, we're going to be closing off in the next 5 minutes. Please send in your questions now. But in any case, this is basically a ginger remedy for weight loss. This is an add-on to exercise and diet. In part two, we're going to talk about the type of exercise that is best for weight loss. All right. So you don't want to miss that one. You want to stay tuned as we're going along into hormone related issues when it comes to weight gain, because a lot of persons might be trying this and trying that when it is that their hormones are imbalanced, and that could have actually been causing the problem of you gaining weight or having headaches and dizziness and numbness and all sorts of these health related problems. So you want to get your pens, your paper. You could see it on the screen. You could take it down for yourself. 5 spoonful of grated ginger. So you get a fresh ginger, of course. You want to get basically juice of 2 lemons. You're going to get 6 cups of water. To prepare to drink, what you do, you boil the ginger, just about 10 minutes, not too long, 5 to 10 minutes. Then you let it cool. After letting it cool, you put in a glass jar. You may be able to add some water to that because they might want to use it throughout the whole day itself. And then you add your 2 lemons, right? The lemon juice itself. What you do with that, you drink 1 glass in the morning, 8 ounces in the morning and in the evening. Now, this is just a little cautionary measure. If you have like acid reflux, you want to be careful because sometimes with ginger, you may get a little burning when you do have acid reflux. For persons that were looking for cheap foods, peas and beans are generally cheap. You'll boil them and they are packed with fiber and so much of nutrients. In part 2, we're gonna actually show you the actual food and the different benefits of each of those foods when it comes to weight loss. So definitely, I would tell persons you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss this. You want to stay tuned for that one. Hopefully, by either tomorrow or later on today, you'll get that part 2. All right. So stay close to your phone. Stay close to looking at the updates, looking for updates, and of course, share this live. Share this YouTube channel to persons so that they could subscribe and be able to get as much information as possible. At this time, well, I don't see any more questions. So, any closing comments, Mr. Diaz?
Yeah, well, again, simply to say, as long as you, regardless of what you're dealing with, whether it's weight loss, or anything like that, what you want to understand is that in order for our metabolism, to respond positively, one of the things that we want to understand is that the best course of action where diet is concerned pretty much is, all right, plant-based diet. Keep that in mind. Plant-based diet. You can put everything together and you can have everything working pretty much, uh, you know, as a pretty good regimen. But for a lot of people, what happens is that they may start to lose the weight or they may actually lose the weight. But the problem is keeping it off becomes an issue. And one of the major factors that contributes to failure is when people think that I will get on a plant-based diet when I want to lose the weight. But after I have achieved what I want to achieve, they tend to go right back to the animal foods. But I would say that losing the weight is good. Keeping the weight off is better. All right. It doesn't make no sense that you go through all of this work to lose the weight, and then after that you decide, well, you know, I'm just going to go back and eat the animal-based foods. No, don't do that. All right. Make a lifestyle change. Okay. Get on the plant-based diet. As you see the benefits of the plant-based diet, why don't you just stay on the plant-based diet? All right, there is so much of benefits from actually staying on a plant-based diet.
Definitely. For persons, of course, who don't know what a plant-based diet is, you don't want to miss part 2 because part 2 is going to have a lot of information on the food, actually what it looks like. So I'll put it up on the screen so persons will be able to follow carefully. All right, so thank you for those that join us for the first time and also for those that join us regularly. Thank you. We will be back by God's grace either later on today or tomorrow at around 10 a.m. All right, you look out for the notification and we'll continue to share as much information as possible. So have a blessed day, everyone. Have a good lunch. Have something, or maybe fast. Drink some water if you want to look at losing weight. And as I would say, let me just go back up to my photo here. Okay. Don't be like this lady. Don't get angry with the scale. Okay? Don't do it. It's not her fault. It's not the scale fault. All right? You are in control. So I will leave you that for the end of the day today. And bye, everyone, and have a safe and blessed afternoon.
Excellent.